In this video we are going to work on a chromatography profile. This is the data that came from the recorder, and you can see we measured absorbance, volume, conductivity to monitor the elution profile, and activity of an enzyme. So we'll just go ahead and go to the graph wizard, and we're going to create a simple line plot. And we had all these options for different line graphs. We're going to use a spline, a curve, which is a smooth line, not a straight line between points. And we're going to pick XY pair, and we're going to use the volume as the x-axis. So let's select the X first, volume. The Y will do the absorbance first to see the protein peaks, and let's hit finish. So that looks pretty good already. And we are gonna modify the axis to get the profile going from end to end, so we can check the data for absorbance. We're gonna go enlarge this maybe from 0 to 80. So we go to axis, X, scale from 0 to 80. It looks much better now. Now we can add another plot, and if we look at data, we can see that the absorbance is much smaller than the conductivity, as you can see. And so what happens when we create a new graph and new line, spline, XY pair, and X again volume, and Y will do conductivity, and finish, we see that it added another plot, another graph on top. So the correct way of doing this, I'll just delete this graph, is to right click on the plot. That's the easiest way, and say add new plot. We'll go through the same procedure. And finish. Now we have the plot, but since this is so big in magnitude, we cannot see the absorbance trace. So what we're going to do is just click on this and say add new axis, and for which plot we want a new axis for the plot 2, and it's going to be a y-axis, and it could be offset or not. We're going to say just right, not offset. And so now we have the graph, and we can see after it refreshes that looks much better now. We can have the lines be different colors, etc. If we wanted to add one more plot, like for example the enzyme activity, we could add another plot, another axis to the graph. So we'll add another plot to the graph, add new plot, line, simple, XY. We are going to do volume, versus activity in finish, and we don't see anything. So in this case, we're going to add the other axis from the graph page, and here add axis for which plot, for plot 3, and which axis we want the y-axis, and we want it to be offset. And so now we have that in there, and here we can say activity. Here we can say conductance, or conductivity. And so you can see that the plot 3 is not visible, and if we look at the data, we can see that we didn't measure the activity for all the samples, so there are missing values, and so that's why the Sigmaplot is not interpreting that as good data. And so if we go to plots and look at plot 3 and the properties of plot 3, we can see that in data sampling, missing values is not accepting missing values. So if I click on accept missing values, now we can see the peak for activity. And so the only thing left to do will be perhaps to modify the y-axis 0 scale. So let's go to perhaps 0. And that looks pretty much like a good graph. It will remain to maybe modify the titles, the legends, etc. But you can see that that is pretty easy to add extra axes. It's also very easy to do if you wanted to express, if let's say this activity is 10 times higher than this peak, you could insert breaks in the axis just with a click of a couple of buttons like this. So explore and don't be afraid of failing and making mistakes, because this is a very powerful program.